October 8th, 2025. I'm 19 years old, and there is currently $283.65 in my checking account. I am not a financial advisor. None of this is financial investing advice at all. This is a one-take state of my finances and exactly what I spent and earned to the penny in September 2025. $283.65 is a low amount of money in my eyes to keep in a checking account. That's partially on purpose. I would like that to be about $1,000 as cushion, but I'm not stressed about it because I'm doing an envelope method of saving. Essentially, when I get my paycheck in at the start of the month, I separate out and refill my envelopes with all the money I need for the month. So I might put money into groceries, into transportation, into other. I have these different saving accounts that are topped off every month. And then as soon as I buy something out of my checking account, I scan my phone, I swipe my card, any of that, I immediately, within the hour after spending that money, go into my mobile banking app and transfer out the exact amount from the penny from the saving envelope I have set aside for that item and put it back into my checking. So if I buy $100 worth of groceries, my checking balance will go down by $100, and then I'll pull out of my groceries envelope, put it in, and back up. So 283 is a little bit of a deceiving number because I don't use it like most people use their checking account, but still, it's good to know. With that being said, did I already address I'm not a financial advisor? I can't remember, but this is not financial or investing advice, yada, yada, yada. It's all at your own risk. I'm a random guy on YouTube. Here's my salary breakdown. I make $56,000 a year working at a community college. Being that it's a nonprofit and government entity, there's a few things that are a little different about my finances compared to possibly yours if you work at a private industry. The biggest one being that I have access to some tax-referred state-sponsored retirement accounts, and then I don't pay into Social Security tax, which I think is about 6.2%. Making $56,000 a year, I have a net pay of $3,465.94 a month after my tax deductions and my CSRS deductions. Here's a breakdown of that. Because I am a government state employee worker at a community college, I'm automatically enrolled in what's called the CSRS system. State University Retirement System, I think. I don't know exactly, but it's okay. I pay a flat 8% of my salary into that. That means that I spend $373 a month out of my gross paycheck immediately into a more long-term savings account. In addition to that, because I get to keep that 8%, that's for me, that's tax deferred in some way, it's good for me. I also pay a 0.95% deduction for state insurance. I'm assuming this is so that I have insurance when I retire on basically my pension. I don't know, but I do know that it's approximately $44 a month. Beyond that, I have a Medicare tax of $68 a month. I have approximately $525 of federal income tax a month and $210 approximately in state income tax. There is an asterisk amount around the amount of tax I pay. I will be paying considerably less per month in taxes soon. I'm going to be doing some different tax-deferred retirement accounts that is going to reduce my taxable income for this calendar year and going forward. So I'm going to see reduction of my taxes, but it's like death and taxes, you can never avoid it. It's just deferred in some other way. Also, a lot of people count in their deductions from their paycheck their insurance. I do not take insurance from my work. That's because I'm 19 and I'm still able to be on my parents' health insurance plan. Great insurance through work. I just already have it paid through other means. So I skip it. Save that $95 a month, which say what you will about it, but I'm still happy with my position. Well, $3,465.94. For somebody that tries to minimize their liabilities and expenses and has been very fortunate to live and grow up in a lot of good situations, that's a very comfortable amount of money to live on. So comfortable, in fact, that I've really started to do a lot of research into FIRE, Financial Independence Retire Early. And I want to see kind of how much of my paycheck can I save or set aside a month that I don't necessarily need, and what I'm willing to sacrifice on, so that way I could reach financial independence and possibly retirement sooner. Well, it turns out I could cut out a lot. Last month, for September of 2025, I feel like I lived like really comfortably still. Like, I don't feel like I made that many sacrifices. But since I was just counting my pennies and counting my dollars and actually sticking to a budget for once, which is awful, but yes, last month was my first month actually sticking to a budget, I spent $733.83 on living expenses. So again, let's kind of look at that and realize, even though I'm making a modest salary of $56,000 a year, which I know is better for a 19-year-old, but it's nothing crazy if you look at statistics around the country. With $3,465.94 hitting my account, I'm spending $733.83. Now, that number is likely to increase going forward, but still, I'm spending, 30% sub approximately of my income. And then on top of that net paycheck amount, I still have that $373 a month that is going into a state-sponsored retirement account for me. So that's pretty good. Definitely could do better, but I'm also trying to live comfortably, and I feel like last month was still a really comfortable month. I really don't regret or can't even think about many sacrifices I made just by watching my money. Mainly, I skipped eating out. I started meal prepping more. I started looking at the cost of things. Anyways, here's what I actually spent last month in every single category. I spent $108.21 on fuel. I drive a completely paid off, little over 10 years old Toyota Corolla. Very practical, a very reliable car. Nothing flashy, but I like it. And I spent $18 on maintenance. I got a car wash, a little bit of a luxury purchase, but it needed it. And yeah, that was it. That's all I spent on my car last month. Starting on October 1st, I'm putting more money aside for my car going forward. Hopefully, only 1 month. Time will tell if I stick to it, but I plan to. I'm now going forward setting aside $150 a month in a separate account for batteries, tires, oil changes, that bigger maintenance kind of stuff. And then also, to kind of save up towards my next car, because if I do that over a long period of time, and that could really help getting a down payment on the next car, help me kind of scrape together something, pay for a bigger repair. $150 a month isn't crazy for how much transportation costs, but I feel more comfortable with it. Anyway. For groceries, I spent $327.51 at actual grocery stores, getting actual groceries, and I spent $89.30 on dining out. In that dining out amount is also gas station trips and like vending machines. That's all those little purchases added up to $89.30 for the month. I am a single individual, by the way. And as far as personal care stuff goes, I spent $52.32 last month. Toothbrush, shampoo, conditioner, yada, yada, yada. All those personal, you have to get things. I have an other category that I spent $24.18 in. To be so honest, I can't for the life of you tell me what I spent $24.18 on last month, but that's why I have a budgeted aside other account, so that way I don't stress about it. It's just thrown in there. I'm not perfect. I missed some expenses, and I hopefully got my money's worth at $24.18 of something. Last month in September 2025, I spent $67 on subscriptions. That is going to be going down to $52 a month moving forward. Work started paying for one of my $15 a month subscriptions. I am setting aside $50 in cash automatically every month into a travel account. I like to go on trips. So far this year, I've gone to Colorado. I've gone to Las Vegas. I've made a lot of Chicago trips. I've gone to St. Louis. I consistently travel, but doing it with other people and setting aside that like $50 a month really makes it a lot more doable than you might think if you're looking at traveling on a budget. Anyways, last big expense is $47.31 into charity. So I threw a bunch of numbers at you. I know a lot of that probably didn't make sense, but it works out to be $733.83 out of my net paycheck before saving and investing calculated in. I have automatically being set aside $600 a month into my Roth IRA account. That's money I don't touch. It's automatically managed. I don't look at it. It's $600 a month that is just a mandatory fee I pay that I don't look at. $200 a month goes to a non-tax advantaged account, which I know is not the best, but it's a traditional brokerage account that, although I have set up by default to automatically be managed, if $200 gets put in, some AI trading bot that SoFi, my bank, offers will invest automatically for me. And that's mainly because I want some money to actually look at stocks individually with and to kind of track the market, and a smaller amount of money to care about. So that way my emotions aren't tied up in watching the stock prices for my actual retirement accounts. Basically just to give you a little bit more exposure to the stock market at a smaller scale. But still, $200 a month is a considerable amount of money to most people, including me at this stage. Yeah. Last month, I had basically $2,000 left over in like spare money. And the reason why I have $2,000 left over goes into what I was saying, a little bit earlier about how my taxes are likely going to be less. Being a state employee, I have access to what's called a 457B account. This is a tax-deferred retirement account, but it's got a few cool quirks on it compared to traditional retirement accounts. For your Roth IRA, I know there's a bunch of different fancy stuff you could do to pull your money out beforehand, but if you want to pull the profits out of your Roth IRA before you're 59 and a half, you have to pay a 10% fee to the IRS. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing for my SERS account. So the neat thing about my 457B is that as soon as I leave my current employer, being my community college, I will immediately be able to withdraw any and or all of those assets into cash or move them into a different portfolio as I see fit without having to pay that 10% deduction. It is treated as income for that year. So if I have $100,000 in the account, I pull out $100,000 all at once. I have it set on my bank account to look pretty. It'll be treated as $100,000 of income for the year, and I'll have to pay taxes on it then. But until that point, I will have $2,000 that comes out of my gross paycheck every month and just set aside to grow in there. So if I'm setting aside $373 a month into my SERS account, $600 a month into my Roth IRA account, basically give or take enough to max out my $7,000 contribution limit. And then I also contribute almost $2,000 a month into my 457B account, which has a max of $23,500 a year off the top of my head for contributions. I'm going to be sitting really pretty for retirement. Like, I could retire if the markets have conservative rates of return of, let's say, 6% a year, I could retire as early as like 39 and live off of a $40,000 a year salary adjusted for inflation until the day I die, which is a very good motivator for actually, saving aside this much money when I'm saving 75%, give or take, of my salary right now. That's what I'm on track for. But I know that my expenses are going to rise, but I'm also anticipating that as I continue to work and do side projects and career advancements, that my salary is also going to rise to try to keep that. But I'm going to try to keep as an aggressive as percentage as I can without driving myself crazy for saving, so that way I live a FIRE lifestyle. Financial independence, retire early. Blah. Continuing with the trend of telling you exactly to the penny how much money I have. Let me log back into my bank that logged me out. I want to go through how much I budget for each category every month. So for dining out and fun money, going out to a restaurant, getting something stupid that's overpriced, like at a theme park or out of a vending machine, I budget $100 a month. And this is, again, not for a family. This is for 19-year-old me who weighs 117 pounds. So, eat probably a little bit less than other people, but try to get some quality foods in there. I budget $100 a month to entertainment. I'm going to be so honest. I just broke 1,000 games in my Steam library. I love buying Steam games. I will gladly budget $15, $20, $50 a month. I don't really care, just to buying Steam games. It gives me so much enjoyment. It is instant dopamine. That is my vice, is buying games on Steam and like deal hunting. I love it. So I have $100 a month that I could spend however I want for entertainment. So that includes like going out to the movies. I've been going bowling a lot recently. I went mini golfing recently, and that also includes all video game purchases. Period. Like all entertainment has to be under $100 a month. Gifts out. This is charity. I think it's really important for me. I'll go into a little bit later about how much money other people owe me, but I like being kind of generous to friends. I don't know. There's a hard way to say it, but basically I have $100 set aside for donations a month. For groceries and food, I have set aside $350 a month. This is separate than the $100 eating out fund. This is $350 to keep my fridge stocked. For me, 117 pounds, I could go much less for this than food, but I think nutrition is super important. I've been getting more and more into weightlifting. I want to make sure that if I am, really living lavish, it's in getting good nutrition for my body compared to junk that's going to shit on my shelf. So $350 a month for groceries has been working very well. Other living costs, I put $100 a month to. That's random personal care stuff, yada, yada, yada. Soap, sponges, shaving, that. Personal care, $100 a month. Easy numbers. It's rough. The goal is to stay under it and then save the difference. And if I have to adjust it, I will. But again, I would rather be a little bit more generous and feel good about coming under my saving targets than really try to stress myself that thin. I have $150 a month set aside towards transportation. But this transportation is vastly just gas. I drive a lot. No getting around it. I drive a fuel efficient, like 32 miles per gallon average, over 10-year-old Toyota Corolla. I think it's a 2014. It's paid off. It's really reliable. And I don't pay for insurance. I'm still on my parents' insurance, and it's awesome. In addition to that $150 a month for gas and like car washes and like really normal every single month things, I have $150 a month that doesn't just get replenished, but is just continuously added to account, is my vroom vroom savings vault. So basically, a lot of the other categories I mentioned, like groceries and transportation and subscriptions and other living costs, every month when I get paid on the 1st, I will fill back up those envelopes. So if I spent $40 in an account that has a $100 goal, then I'll put $40 in, so it's back at $100, and I could spend it down however much the next month. But for my Vroom Vroom account, I'm going to be putting $150 in every month, regardless of how much is in there, so then hopefully it grows to be a little bit more substantial over time. This I could use for tires, for a battery, for oil changes, and eventually to buy another car in cash. I really have no desire to buy a car on debt, ever. That seems like an awful idea that too many Americans choose. I will much gladly have the many years old, depreciated, still reliable vehicle compared to going in debt for a car. So yeah, $150 a month goes into that. I would like to increase that to be a little bit more. I would love to, in a couple of years, be able to buy a used like Tesla Model 3 in cash, because I think the car is awesome and still practical enough, but it would be a luxury. But still, just budgeting that, yeah. And same thing like my Vroom Vroom Vault, where things just keep getting added in continuously, is my travel vault. So far this year, I've gone to Colorado, I've gone to Las Vegas, done multiple trips to Chicago, done multiple trips to St. Louis, and as well as Atlanta, Georgia too. And having $50 set aside a month doesn't sound like a lot, and I know it's really easy to blow through your money on travel. But if you're carpooling with friends, or like you're really hunting for deals, and you're like not eating out constantly, like when you're traveling, like when you just go to like walk around a place and like do things you really like scheduled out, traveling could be like really reasonable cost. I don't feel the need to splurge when I'm in a different physical location. So $50 to cover basic travel expenses beyond my normal categories will hopefully be enough, because I looked back at my past, dozen trips, and I haven't actually spent that much money. Normally the most I'm paying is for flight or hotel, and that's normally subsidized by somebody else that I stay with, deals, company, all that. So exactly how much I have in savings that's just not in a category. So I went through all my different things that are budgeted out for the month and that are going to grow, but separate from all those vaults that I just talked about, all those different containers, all those different envelopes, I have a general savings fund of $2,797.10. Again, I would like it to be higher, of course. Anybody could say that, but at least I have a couple months worth of my basic liabilities covered. That's the main thing. I would really like to have a 6-month emergency fund, but considering nobody else really relies upon me at the moment for anything, which is a luxury. There's so much pressure off my shoulders. I'm okay with just having a 3-month emergency fund, having over $2,000 in case something comes up. I know I could cover anything basic, anything I need to, keep kind of going with life. That's the honest numbers of where I'm at 19. I should mention too, I don't even have a credit score, which I should probably work on getting one, but zero debt. None. Never had a line of credit. Bought my car in cash, used phones in cash, everything. I don't have a credit card. I just use a debit card. Yeah. I also have a few other miscellaneous accounts that I'll skim over quickly. I had to cash a check that was in my name but was supposed to be for my parents, and that's $257.04. I paid them in cash, so that's just sitting in my account. So you could add that to my available savings, being basically $3,000. And I have a few miscellaneous dollars stretched out in between money friends have asked me to hold on to because of a bet or to for whatever reason, and then just so I could track it. It's just a glorified reminder. I have different saving vaults set up for. So if you look at my total savings with everything, it will say $5,253.40. That is misleading. I have a startup business, which I will not get into on this random slop of financial numbers video. But I have a small side company, and to keep track of those expenses and income, I have $1,217.64 set aside for the company in my personal savings account. Not ideal, but it's convenient. I need to buy something. I need somebody needs to Zelle me for services, all that. $1,200. Yeah. Not great, but a lot better than a lot of others. Now on to my investment accounts. I have $3,421.48 in my Roth IRA account. I have $2,335 in my self-directed investment account that I personally, every part of it, manage. And then I have $1,207.41 to a robo investing account. So here's how much I'm actually spending and putting into each one of those categories. So my robo Roth IRA, basically it just means that there is a computer that is managing my IRA account. It's got a very high advisory fee of 0.25%, or at least I think that's high for an automated program to do. But it's worth it for me at this moment to have that, even though I know it's going to add up to be over $100,000 by the time I actually cash it out to retire. I will change it at some point. But right now it's worth it, so that way I don't look at what's being invested at in my Robo Roth IRA. Like, I know that my Roth IRA is just there. I'm just always going to max it out every year going forward, and I don't worry about it. I don't think about it. I don't track the markets for it. My self-directed account is different. That one is my playground. I get to do whatever I want with. I get to learn. I get to lose. I get to take the account to zero or to the moon. It's just kind of a fun account. And then my Robo investing account is automatically managed, just like the Robo Roth IRA. There is a computer that automatically invests the money, automatically makes trades for me. I don't ever have to think about it. I just fund the account and it goes. That's also with a 0.25% yearly fee that gets charged monthly. Don't worry about that. It has an advisory fee. I know. This account I like just because I put in $100 bi-weekly, and it's just a way that I like to see my investments kind of pay off and grow. It gives me a staircase of, oh, I keep putting in $100 a month, and it's growing over time, and it's getting to be so much bigger. And like back then, when I was thinking about like spending money on something stupid, like if I would have spent it on the stupid thing, then my staircase wouldn't be taller. It's up to $1,200 now just by investing $200 a month. So I haven't been doing it, that long, but I just like seeing the growth and like it stair step up. It's just consistent smaller amounts. It keeps me motivated. Again, it's not on a tax advantage account. It's not the most efficient, but it's worth it for me because I get to see my wealth growing in a shorter term, where investing for retirement is a very long-term game. I'm not going to look at or care about the returns from my SERS account, from my 457B account, from my Robo Roth IRA account for years. They're never going to look that good. But if I can consistently see in my Robo account a smaller amount of money that I could be emotional about go up consistently, it's a payoff in my head where I could see the reason why I'm investing. I guess I should show that according to SoFi, which is my main bank, my net worth is $12,460.70 right now. I do think that's quite deceiving because there's a lot of different factors in that. But we could say 10 grand net worth at 19. If you like this video, not a single other one on the channel is remotely similar currently, but you should still subscribe. It's good for you.